Hello everybody, this is BL. How are you doing today?
And this is Eva. Welcome.
We have with us today a couple of guest presenters. We have Louise and Vera. And then we have Joe helping along with the staff. So, don't know how to get rid of that audio thingamabob. Oh well. You guys pretty much know the drill, how to participate in this. We do have you all on mute for right now, but if you need to say anything to us, just type us a question. You should be able to see the question block down under the list of attendees. If you can't, look and see if there's maybe a plus sign right there. If you press the plus sign, then you'll get the place where you can enter the questions for us. I don't know how to get rid of this little new computer, new headset. Sorry about that, folks. Here's your hand right here. You can raise your hand if you have a question.
Yeah, what would happen if you closed the program down and opened it up again?
See, it's still, it wasn't there a minute ago, I don't know. Computer, sorry. Now I can't get rid of that. Oh well, we'll just have to live with it. I'm sorry about that, guys. Let's see. And please keep yourself on self-mute. If you raise your hand and if we call on you, then we will unmute you. And as soon as you finish talking, if you'll put yourself on self-mute, sometimes it's open-ended and we want to leave your mic open for a little bit, but if you keep yours on self-mute when you're done speaking, then it will minimize any echoes that we might have, okay? And if you're experiencing a problem, try and mute and then unmute yourself, and if you're still having a problem, please type the staff a note. Someone will be watching for it, and we'll see what we can do. Okay? So, here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit today. Eva and I, of course, are the facilitators, and Louise and Vera are the guest presenters. This will be recorded and available for download, as well as the PDF of not only the new slides that we're adding today, but also all the previous information slides. So it'll be a one-stop shopping. You don't have to go back and dig through the ones that we've previously done. They'll all be available in that one package. Okay? Let's see. New today, we're adding the nodal axis, Chiron, and the 7 rays, and then we're only having 2 charts being delineated. For those of you who came first and who've already delineated your charts, I've already gone ahead and sent you an updated chart that includes the nodes, Chiron, and your rays, the little ray chart. All right. Let's get on with it. These are the nodes. They look like those little horseshoes in our chart. They are the moon nodes, lunar nodes, the nodal axis, the north node, the south node. They go by a lot of different names. Basically what they are is the point where the orbit of the moon around the earth crosses the orbit of the earth around the sun. They typically move backwards, or what we call retrograde, in our chart, although occasionally they will station and move direct. but that's very rare when that happens. They take about 18 years to complete one full cycle, 18 and a half roughly. So they're actually in a sign about 1.5 years at a time. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Here's the moon's path around the earth. The north node is called the ascending node because it's moving upwards. The south node, open at the bottom, is called the descending node because it's moving down this way. But you're always going to have two of them right there. Now, just as an aside, eclipses actually occur when the moon is right fairly close to where those nodes are. Okay, the solar eclipse occurs when the moon is close to a node during a new moon, which of course is when the moon is conjunct the sun, and it passes between the earth and the sun, hiding it briefly. The lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is close to a node during a full moon, which is when the moon is opposite the sun and the earth is between them. So that's a little bit about eclipses. They don't have to be directly on, but it needs to be close to for the eclipses to happen. And depending on the closeness, that's how come we get, the full or partial eclipses. Okay, man, I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so what do we know about the moon? The moon, among other things, is karmic in nature. It's a repository of our past actions and patterns, and the nodal axes are going to carry the influences of that same energy with it. That's one of the reasons that it's so important to us to help us understand the karmic aspects of it. The north node is going to represent potential new qualities. And the south node is a previously achieved qualities that we have, integration of our personality and how we're working on that, overcoming the past to work towards the soul. Think of the south node kind of as a bag of past achievements that we've packed with us and we've brought with us to this incarnation. By nature of them being an axis, the nodes are going to be very dynamic within our chart. And what we're looking at when we're looking at the nodes is we're going to see what the sign is and what the house is. That's what's going to be important to us and how that reacts as an axis. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides. Just know that they will be in the notes telling you what the definition is of the nodes in the house axes, in the sign axes. Okay? Chiron. Let's get to Chiron here. This, by the way, is his little glyph. Looks kind of like a K. Okay, in mythology, and we always look to mythology. Mythology tells us so much about the archetypes of the planets. I don't think it's an accident, the names that get picked for these things. And we can look at all mythology and learn so much about Jupiter, Saturn, and everything. So it's no different with Chiron. The first thing you go to is look at the mythology of him. He was a centaur, but he was different from all the other centaurs. He was immortal, he was intelligent, he was kind. He was valued as an astrologer, as an oracle, and a teacher. He also had skill with healing and medicine, but when he was wounded, he was actually unable to heal himself. His students included heroes, kings, and healers. Okay, I've frozen up here. Let me see. There we go. Maybe it was the operator here. All right, again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Chiron has a very highly elliptical orbit. What does that mean? That means he's not like the other orbits. course, none of the orbits are this round. Most of them are elliptical a little bit. But his is very elliptical. So is Pluto's. But see what happens here? I wonder what the heck this thing is and how I get rid of it. All right, you can't see it, but his orbit actually comes a little bit inside Saturn's orbit here and a little bit outside Uranus's orbit. So he spans quite a distance here. So what we find is that he's going to be in Aries right here, where he's got a small orbit, for only about a year and a half, but he's going to be in Libra, where he's way out here, for about 7 years. That whole process takes him 50 years to transit all the signs, give or take a little bit. And although primarily his orbit is found between Saturn and Uranus, we do see that he's inside Saturn's orbit just a tad, and he's outside Uranus's, where normally he would be here. Now, what do we know about Saturn? Saturn is the ring past naught for average humanity. That's the block. Saturn is the limit as far as we can go for average humanity. But as we work on our consciousness and we expand our horizons, it expands our ring past naught to the interpersonal planets of consciousness, Uranus, the intuition and occultism, also the central spiritual sun, and Neptune, who is mystical consciousness and the heart of the sun. This is why Chiron represents the rainbow bridge, that archetype for the Antakarana that literally spans the orbits between Saturn, which is our personal limitation, and Uranus, which is our spiritual limitation. So that's why we call it the rainbow bridge. Okay, so what do we know about Chiron's purpose in our chart? It was actually discovered just recently, relatively, 1977, but it was immediately put into practice. Because of his highly unorthodox orbit, he's considered a maverick. Where he transits in our chart, something unexpected will happen, something unorthodox. He can be a catalyst for change, new doorways, loss of old ways. It can point out an area where we need an adjustment or a correction. He was wounded. He knew great pain, but he overcame it. So as the wounded healer, he is able to help others. In our chart, it exposes areas where we harbor wounds, also areas where healing is possible or where we can help others heal. He was also a sage, guide, mentor, beloved teacher. He's typical, expressing Ray 2 energy. And he has been associated at various times with 3 signs, Virgo, Libra, and Sagittarius. Sagittarius because he's a centaur. But, you know, Jupiter, he's pretty much firmly locked in there as the ruler of Sag. So although people put him there, I like either Virgo or Libra better. And one of the reasons for both of them is that we're looking for replacements for either Venus or Mercury, who are the only 2 planets left doubled up with 2 signs right now. As we've seen with all recently discovered planets, well, relatively recent, past couple of 100 years, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto found their rightful place as the exoteric rulers of signs that were previously doubled up. So what's the connection to Virgo? Well, healing, Ray 2, and also being the mediator like Mercury is. What's the connection to Libra? Well, achieving balance, union of the opposites, and wisdom like Venus. If you want to explore Chiron further, a couple of good experts on it are Melanie Reinhardt and Zane Stein. Okay, any questions on Chiron or the nodes before I move on to quickly go through the 7 rays?
let's see right here. I'm just going to add that one of the reasons that Chiron is associated with Virgo is that Chiron requires one to adjust, to make corrections. Well, Virgo, the sign of Virgo is very much like that. So there's a real strong relationship between Virgo and Chiron in that way.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Yvonne, go ahead.
You said you had a new computer, or so do I. If it's the same as mine, and it looks like it is, the little triangle in the bottom, you click on that way in the bottom, and then it gives you the options. There's a speaker in there.
My speaker isn't in there. My speaker is
okay. My
separate.
speaker is in there. Okay.
Yeah, my speaker is separate, and you know, I clicked on it a little while ago and it went away before we started, and then it came back again.
Sorry.
But thanks, and I wished I could move it, but I can't even move it, so I guess it's telling me that I'm speaking. Let me see. Okay, anyway, 7 rays. Let's go through them quickly. Now, again, I've got a lot of slides here on the 7 rays, and I'm going to pass through them really quickly. There's only a couple of them that I'm going to spend any time on. You've seen this before. Eva has done a couple of webinars on it, and so you've got slides from it previously. These will be included in the slides as well. Okay, so what are the 7 rays? 3 rays of aspect, rays 1, 2, and 3. The 3 rays of attribute, rays 4, 5, and 6. Each ray carries with it strengths and weaknesses, personality qualities, and soul qualities. So as we go through these, as we look at those, we can go through and say, yes, I know I have this ray in my makeup. Yes, I'm arrogant and proud, maybe not so much rebellious. Aloof? I don't know. You know, you can go through and you can pick, ooh, these are the ones I need to work on. These are the ones that I'm exhibiting at the higher level. So it's always a good thing to have lists like this. All right, this is what Eva was talking about earlier, and I do want to spend a little bit of time on this. Oh, man. I must not have the latest version.
Have you right-clicked it on BL? Have you right-clicked it?
Yeah.
Oh.
See, this is for the table itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe if I move this a tad, it'll at least get it. Yeah. Okay, anyway, Aries. It's associated, it transmits through ray 1 and 7, but it's associated with ray 6 due to Mars and ray 4 due to Mercury. The exoteric and esoteric rulers. Taurus transmits through ray 4, but it's associated with its rulers, Venus ray 5 and Vulcan ray 1. Gemini ray 2, but it's associated with its rulers, Mercury ray 4 and Venus ray 5. I've gotten questions on this before. When we talk sometimes, we'll say Aries ray 1, or we'll say Aries and ray 6. And we don't, you know, we know the shorthand that means Aries because the exoteric ruler is Mars in ray 6. These are things that you get used to using, but the correlations are very, very valuable. So these are the tables that Eva said you're going to want to keep handy and look at quite often until you can, you know, just think off the top of your head what the associations are.
I would add, BL, I would add one thing here with Venus. I think that on a personality level, it transmits the 2nd ray. On a soul level, it transmits the 5th ray. So with Venus, we've always got ray 2 as the lesser and ray 5 as the higher of the 2. Some of them transmit as much as 3 different rays. We don't always have them listed. So,
Yeah,
so it's just something that the students need to know, that they don't always transmit only one ray.
right. And part of that is what the archetypes are. You know, Venus is love, and that's ray 2. This is hypothetical, like you were mentioning earlier, that you know, Capricorn comes through on 3 rays and Sagittarius comes through on 3 rays. Some of the rays were only given 2 and some of them were only given 1. But hypothetically, esoteric astrologers have been hypothesizing that each one has a relationship transmitting through 3 rays. And it's the same thing with the planets. They have a personality ray, they have a soul ray, they have a hierarchical ray, you know, or a monadic ray. And Michael talks about that frequently, and that's what he's talking about. That's what Eva's talking about here. Venus being ray 2 personality and ray 5 sacred esoteric. Okay, let's see. Well, we were on Gemini, transmits through ray 2, connected with Mercury, ray 4, and Venus, again, ray 5, or Venus, ray 2, again. And this is another one of those connections, a double ray 2 if we're looking at the personality level. Cancer transmits through rays 3 and 7, exoteric, Moon, ray 4, and Neptune, ray 6 for esoteric. Leo, rays 1 and 5. The Sun in both counts, the physical Sun for the exoteric, the Sun veiling Neptune most likely for the esoteric. Virgo, rays 2 and 6. Mercury and Moon, both are ray 4, but the Moon esoterically is probably veiling Vulcan, ray 1. I'd like to point out here that we can't really look at a natal chart and tell people what their ray makeup is. I've known a lot of people who tried doing it, and so far we're just not able to do that. But what we can do is use other methods to determine what our ray chart is, and then find the correlations in the signs, the planets, and their rays to see how we might be using that energy, how each vehicle taps into the various different signs, planets, to express that particular ray. Libra, it's a ray 3, rulers, Venus, ray 5, and Uranus, ray 7. Scorpio transmits ray 4. It's got 2 rulers. The traditional one was Mars, the modern one is Pluto, and the esoteric is Mars. So it's got a double shot of Mars. Sagittarius, Jupiter, ray 2, Earth, ray 3, and Sagittarius is one of the few ones that DK has given us all 3 rays, ray 4, 5, and 6. Capricorn, ray 1, 3, and 7, it transmits on. Saturn in both cases. Aquarius only transmits ray 5. Saturn was the old traditional ruler. Uranus is the modern ruler. Jupiter is the esoteric ruler. So that adds 2, 3, 5, and 7 for an Aquarian. Pisces, ray 2s and 6. Jupiter was the traditional. Neptune is the modern ruler. And Pluto is the esoteric ruler. For those of you who don't know the difference, the ones that are considered non-sacred planets, like the Sun, the Earth, Mars, Pluto, those are considered personality planets. They're working on, but not yet to, their esoteric level. They will have different, they're working on their first initiation to bring them up to the level of the soul. which is what I was talking about a minute ago, and Eva was talking about, we assume that they have a rheological makeup for each planet just like we do. Okay, I want to show this quickly. The 7 brothers are all the children of the same father, but the elder 3 partake of the father's nature. The younger 4 resemble the mother. The 3 elder sons go forth in the universe of stars, and there they represent the father. The younger 4th go forth into the universe and show the nature of the one the father loved. I love this quote from the old commentary. It's from Esoteric Psychology. But I think it just gives you a good picture of what the rays are all about. Okay, I'm not going to go over these, but I have the personality expressions for the 7 rays here, keywords for you to look at. The same with the soul expression. They will be in the slides. Some rays complement each other. Some not so much. They all have essential gifts or services that they perform. And there are several series on this. Eva did several webinars on the rays back in 2013, and they're available on Makara. Did you want to say something, Eva?
Yes, I wanted to actually bank on something you said earlier about the rays and the chart. I have spent so much time trying to see, as you said, whether or not we can tell what our rays are in the chart. And I go back and forth between saying, well, no, you can't. They either reveal the rays that you already have in your ray makeup, or they're complementary to the rays that you have in your ray makeup. An example of that is in my chart, I have a tremendous amount of ray 3. I have my Sun in Libra, ray 3. I have Capricorn Moon, ray 3. I have my Ascendant, Cancer, ray 3. And yet, ray 3 is hardly part of my ray hypothesis, except for my physical body, which means my brain is ray 3. So, and yet I do wield ray 3 energy, but it's not in my chart. So the only thing I really want to add here is that the program that we use, Solar Fire, will give you a printout of a bunch of rays that are strong in your chart. That does not necessarily mean that that exposes your ray chart. As I said, I haven't yet landed whether it's complementary, the rays that are in our chart, or whether they just magnify what we already have. So I leave that as open-ended because right now we don't have an answer. So even though we're talking rays, because there's always reference to rays, they add a particular quality as we understand the planets and the signs. It does not necessarily mean it's our ray chart, period. I'm done.
Thank you. You know, it's frustrating, you know. I'm very analytical, and I think, well, darn it, you know, we should be able just to rack and stack this and figure it out. But it is not that way at all. Their interaction is a lot more subtle than that. Okay, so time for our guest presenters. We're going to start here with Louise, but before I turn it over to Louise, I just want to say something really quick. This is what Eva was talking about here. You know, these are very nice little pictorials here, but they don't tell the whole story. Basically, these are tables that are in Solar Fire, and we have the ability to go in and change some of the settings in them, but not a lot of the settings. And this is really going to drive me crazy with that there. But basically what it's doing here with the rays is it's not picking the ray of the planet itself. It's just going through counting the signs that planets are in. In other words, she has no 6th ray here because she has no planets in Pisces or Virgo, which are the 2 6th ray signs. Okay, so that's one of the limitations of looking at it this way. It's also helpful though because it does show she has a lot of planets in third ray signs. Seventh ray's pretty good, ray 1's pretty good too. Same with the elements in the modes. It's just counting the planets that it's got in there. Okay, so are you ready, Louise? Let me see what happens if I go.
Yes.
I can't get that.
Oh, that's okay.
That's the best I think I can do. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I won't spend too much time on elements and all these things before going to the ascendant, sun and moon. But just say that the elements to me are rather evenly represented, except for the Earth, which is a little less. However, the planets in Earth signs seem to me very strong. For instance, Venus is in its sign, Taurus, and in its house as well, house 7. Mars is the esoteric ruler of the ascendant, is in Capricorn, which is an earth sign in 3rd house, which is the house of concrete mind and of integration. And we added Chiron and North Node, which are in Capricorn, which were not there in the previous chart that I had. So that's it for the elements. I think they are fairly well evenly represented. As long as the hemisphere is concerned, the southern hemisphere is a little stronger than the north one, but it's balanced again because of the importance of the planets in there. We can find Sun and Mars, which is the esoteric ruler of the chart, as well as the exoteric of the Sun, which are in the north hemisphere. In addition to that, Mars and Saturn are in mutual reception, and Saturn is conjunct to the ascendant. So I believe they are quite well balanced. The quadrant, the second one is weaker. However, it's still influential because the Sun is in there, and the Sun is in the 6th house of service. Cross, the mutable is weaker. That may indicate a lack of flexibility. That is that I showed more in my early years, because the more I got self-confident, the more I could let go easily. Sometimes I may feel tight though, and be very exacting. Okay, the ascendant, that represents the soul purpose. It is in Scorpio. Scorpio conveys the 4th ray, the ray of war and conflict, which should lead to harmony. The most negative trait that of this sign for me is resentfulness. I mostly resented life for sending me restriction and many hindrance or blocks. Eventually I came to understand that these are being tests of Scorpio, the test of the disciple. I also understood that obstacles were there to make me see the limiting patterns holding me back, and which needed to be changed. In my chart, that means that Scorpio is shaking up my Libra moon past patterns. They have also to do with keeping me in equilibrium. I try to feel comfortable and in harmony and peace. So I have to let go of that and eventually to move forward. The exoteric ruler is Pluto, the planet of destruction of old forms. It is in the 10th house, which is the professional life, or where we make contribution to society. Mars is the esoteric ruler. I have to use my Mars fighting energy to overcome my limiting patterns and take my spiritual responsibilities. More concretely, I know that I have to strive to purify my astral nature so that my mind could receive the light of the soul. That requires a developed mind properly used. And Mars being in the 3rd house provide me with the necessary action and perseverance to develop that mental integration for the work of the soul. Mars is sextile to the ascendant. This is a very good support for this to work on the astral purification, which I see as part of my soul purpose. Of course, Capricorn and Saturn are limiting in some ways, but Mars being sextile to the ascendant, it's very beneficial. It gives me an opportunity to control more my 6-3 Mars, which is quite strong. Saturn on the rising helps restrain wrong self-expression and provides opportunity to express the soul qualities of my ascendant, which is the driving force to transmute lower energy into higher ones. If you see Saturn, which is conjunct to the ascendant, is a 3rd planet, and that can help bring the right mental perspective to see my wrong desires or my wrong nature so that I can deal with that. Okay. The Sun represents the personality consciousness. It is in Aries. The exoteric ruler is Mars. On the positive side, the Mars quality that I have, it's the strength to move forward, a strong mind, leadership, mental creativity. On the negative side, Mars may amplify the personality desire to rule, to control, to dominate, being aggressive too and impulsive. But since Mars is in Capricorn, the impulsivity is somehow contained, which is good. To overcome the negative tendencies of the Sun, I must develop an aspiration for a higher life than personal impulses. I must transform the desire for personal power into an aspiration to serve the greater good. I must also develop an intelligent and disciplined leadership. That is to say, the lower will or self-will must be brought under control of the soul through a proper use of the mind. The mind is very important. Since Mars, the exoteric ruler of the Sun, and also the esoteric ruler of the ascendant, Mars, my personality life can be elevated by increasing the integration of the personality and soul. And that will be done through building the Antakarana. And this is the task of Mercury. Mercury, which is the esoteric ruler of Aries. Mercury is the bridge builder. To me, the Sun is veiling Neptune, the esoteric heart of the Sun. I say so because Neptune is opposite the Sun and conjunct the Earth. It reveals another aspect of the soul purpose, which is to learn to love as a soul. I mean, to love the spiritual essence of the person rather than the personality. Okay. The Sun-Earth axis through the sign. To me, I think it is to find a balance between self and others. And if I look through the house, it is the house 6 and 12. House 6 has to do with selfless service and purification of what blocks the free flow of love. 11-12 has to do with the dweller on the threshold and compassion, universal love. So the balance to me is to be found through selfless services as a way to express compassion and the love of the soul, as well as to overcome the dweller on the threshold. The moon, well, moon represents the past patterns. It rules the unconscious behaviors and negative thoughts which stimulate the lower self. to act and react into patterns, self-defeating way. My moon is in Libra in house 11, which is the house of projects and friendships, and Libra's esoteric ruler is Uranus, and Uranus rules house 11. And Libra's esoteric ruler is Venus. Venus is in its own house, the 7th house, the house of relationship and partnership. So because of that, I think and I know my unconscious past negative patterns are related to my relationship, my association with others. With a moon in Libra, I experience a need to merge with another in order to feel emotional, secure, and comfortable. So I must form relationships with others. And unfortunately, in my relationship, I may lose myself, may lose my plans, my project, and to work at others' realization of their projects. I may tend to compromise in my relationship to buy peace to a certain extent, to avoid conflict. And I may be naive as well, try to harmonize with people and environment which are not necessarily in line with my soul purpose. And to release from my moon patterns, I used a lot of my sun's strength to cease to be overly aware of others and to let that over-awareness shape my action. So I've been learning to set up my limits, to be more self-assertive. I've also developed a sense of being responsible for my own life, and I have stopped looking at a place or project I could fit into, and I have been working at defining it by myself. So that's it. And I think I've been using the qualities of Uranus, which is the esoteric ruler of Libra. But because, well, Uranus, I feel it has helped me very much to awake my consciousness to greater reality and to elevate my consciousness so that I can link to a certain extent with the higher mind. Okay, the axis, mid-heaven, nadir. On the exoteric level, I need to find balance between self-awareness, self-will, and group awareness. On the esoteric level, I need to find a balance between the personality integration and ashramic responsibility, the soul purpose. The axis between ascendant-descendant, Scorpio-Taurus axis, I need to balance between personal desires and personal values on the exoteric level. And on the esoteric level, I need a balance between striving to free the consciousness from the astral plane and the development of higher aspiration to achieve right relationship, which is to love others as souls. Just briefly to sum up, let's say that the keynote of Aries Sun, the personality, is mental. I come forth from the plan of mind and rule. It indicates the importance of adopting a mental perspective. And the soul keynote for Scorpio ascendant soul is about testing. Warrior am I, and from the battlefield I emerge triumphant. It indicates the importance of striving to release the consciousness from the glamour, deceptions, and illusions of the astral plane. This is achieved through the building of the antakarana between the three aspects of the mind, lower mind, soul, and higher mind, so that I become an eagle. That's all.
Wow, that was very, very comprehensive. Thank you, Louise. You've done an excellent job. You covered so many important points here. There's a few things I'd like to stress that you actually talked about, but I want to point out its importance. And that is Mars.
Mars.
Now Mars, yes, it's the esoteric ruler of Scorpio, but it's also the exoteric. We have two rulers for Scorpio exoterically, Mars and Pluto. So Mars is not only the exoteric and esoteric ruler of Scorpio, okay, in Capricorn, and Mars in Capricorn, and I know none of you have really learned that, and this is still new, a whole new area for me too, but I'm learning all about exaltations and their importance. It's exalted in Capricorn. So that's a very, very positive and good placement for Mars. Mars is also the ruler, the exoteric ruler of your sun sign. So you see how important Mars is for you in this chart. Not only is it the ruler of the chart, it rules your ascendant and it rules your sun sign. So that's one important thing to look at. Now, the natural house for Scorpio is the 8th house, right?
Yes.
You're with me on that, right? So what's sitting in your 8th house is Jupiter. And Jupiter is the ruler of what sign? It's the ruler of Sagittarius.
Yes.
So if we go down to where Sagittarius is, now, when I did your chart, let me just see. See, I did this on Placidus, and with me, your Mars comes out in the 2nd house, so I have to apologize. So for me, your Mars comes out in the 2nd house, not in the 3rd house. And so it could be in either house, depending on the house system we use. So I saw it in the 2nd house, and again, I was going to point out how important that Mars is for you, because it was in the 2nd house under the Placidus system. So let's just omit that, because we're not working with that here. We're working with the Regio Montanus. Okay, so, all right, we'll leave that.
But it's almost on the cusp.
It's almost on the cusp, so it could be considered, swinging between the two. The importance of it is that there is a relationship here between Jupiter and Mars. So it expands and makes more of the Mars than it already is. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's exalted as it is, but with Jupiter having a relationship there with Mars, it exemplifies it. It makes it even more. I think that says an awful lot about the Mars for you, and then for you to look at Mars in your life and how you have been the warrior and in what capacity you find yourself a warrior. Because Mars, as we know, is not only the conflict, it's the courageous one that fights for the underlings or fights for whatever one needs to overcome, with that strength that is hidden in Mars.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I want to point out is, if we look at all your personal planets, all of them are either in their own signs, which makes them dignified, or by placement, they are in the right house, or they're exalted. If we consider Mars for your physical form, it's exalted, as I said, in Capricorn. If we look at Venus in Taurus, in the 7th house there, it's in its own sign. It is the ruler of Taurus, and it's in the house where it normally would sit, because it's Libra's house. So your emotions then are placed very, very well. And if we look at your mental vehicle, which would be Mercury, it too is in its own sign. So all those 3 bodies or vehicles are extremely well integrated on a personality level. So you've got a lot working for you here and to help you in this incarnation, because that's not something you have to fight. It's something that is going to come rather, how do I say it?
It's a given.
It's a good thing here, They're all in very, very good placements, unlike some of us who have everything either falls or in detriment. And we have to fight through every little thing, you see, because that is our work in this incarnation. that is not a major problem for you. You might have other things you need to work with, being a warrior, you know, but that is not a problem here. So where do you do your battles? Where do you do your battles? And what is it that you need to, now you talked about that, with Saturn conjunct your ascendant, what is it that you're battling? What is it that has limited you, that you find yourself having to be the warrior for?
Well, it's to have a mental perspective, to keep it. I do have it, but to keep it, because my emotions may be too strong. I'm too passionate, you know. So I have to cool off a little bit and to use my mind more.
Okay, and that's another interesting thing, that you bring the mind into it. We look at the third house that you talked about, and we look at the ninth house. And in the ninth house, you have Uranus, which is the planet of occultism and higher learning. In the third house, you have that exalted Mars, which is the drive that is behind all that learning that you want to do and all that striving that you want to do to use your mental powers. And as your mentor, I read all your what you write, you talk a lot about how the use of the mind to overcome emotions and how important that mind is for you. So you can see the link here between that third house and the ninth house. But, here's the big but, there is Chiron sitting in the third house, right? Yeah. Chiron requires adjustments, requires a correction. It has to do with how you think, how you use your mind, and maybe you already corrected some of it, you know, up till now. Maybe there's more to be done. Only you can answer that. But it's interesting that that is something that's sitting right there in that third house of mind. Okay?
Eva?
Yes.
I would like to add that Chiron is in the ending degrees. So it's an opportunity to look at it from a concrete mind standpoint, and move it into a more mental air sign as it naturally progresses into the next sign of Aquarius. So that's, I look at all ending degrees, you know, 28 degrees, 29 degrees, as the potential to finish that particular lesson for that particular planet in this particular spiral and move on. Just as I look at the 0 and 0, 1 degrees as the beginning of that particular part of the lesson. So you've got those bookends here in Capricorn with Mars and the Chiron.
Beautifully said. I'm really glad that you pointed that out. That's excellent. There was, I wanted to point out Saturn to you. You know, that Saturn, from a traditional perspective, it's malefic. You know, it's not looked at as the most positive thing because it requires, or it gives us limitations, it holds us back, it's considered burdensome. But from an esoteric perspective, it is our teacher. It is the one that disciplines us. It is the one that keeps us on the straight and narrow. It is the one that is causing you to have all those tests that you talked about in Scorpio. So this is a wonderful combination for you to help you in this incarnation to deal with those scorpionic tests, because Saturn is going to, it's going to force you. It's almost like a forcing process. You can't get away from it. It's going to force you to keep re-looking at all those things that you're working on, all those things that you're trying to be the warrior for. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And with having the planet Earth also there in your ascendant, it's all this higher learning that you're involved in. You know, with Uranus up there, and with Neptune in the 12th house, which is the whole mystical thing. You know, Neptune in the 12th house, so there's all this occultism. With Saturn, with the Earth there, you can ground this. You can really make this practical and grounding for you. So it's not left, philosophically and, up in the ethers. You can make it very practical, you can make it very grounding, and you can bring it into your everyday life. I think that's very important.
Thank you.
Two more things I want to point out, and then I'm done. And that is you have a combination of a creative visualization that's very strong here. Would you say your creative visualization works for you?
Yes.
Yeah. And so for those that are looking at this, it's the combination of Neptune, which is right here in the 12th house, and Jupiter. Neptune-Jupiter combination is creative visualization, excuse me.
Oh.
And I can't help but sense coming out of this chart is that the 1357 line seems to be much stronger than the 246 line. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
And would you say that that is so or not?
To be, yes.
Because the rays that you gave us.
Yeah, with 14163.
Yes, you weren't sure about your soul whether it was 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And 4 for the personality, and ray 1 for the mind, ray 6 for the emotions, and ray 3 for the physical, etheric, and the brain.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do see, again, the stronger 1357, which comes through in this chart, as well as what you've assessed as your rays. So here it underscores what you've already come away with. Sometimes it complements, as I said earlier. You know, it's not foolproof. We don't have a magic formula here. Okay, so please add anything you'd like to add, BL.
Okay, one of the things that I noticed, you know, you don't have any planets in ray 6. We've already talked about that. But Mars, your ray 6 planet, turned out to be quite important in your chart, right? So that's a kind of an in-your-face ray 6 activity that you've got going there. So again, the rays, how they show up is very subtle. Let's see, what else did... personality ray 4, of course we see that more so here with the Scorpio ascendant, but Aries, the esoteric ruler of Aries, is ray 4, Mercury ray 4. So that is a way of supporting you know, your ray 4 personality that you think you have. There's just so many different ways that we can look at, you know, Aries and Mercury is a ray 1, and you said ray 1 mind. So, you know, like Eva said, there's just a lot of different ways we can pull the info once you know what your ray structure, or think you know what your ray structure is. We can then pinpoint the little details of it. So, okay, one thing I'd like to mention, and that's the nodal axis. We brought that into play this time around, but we didn't really delineate it anyway in the chart. Your nodal axes are in the Cancer Capricorn. So the past is Cancer, and the future that you're working towards, the goal, your karmic goals here are the Capricorn, which we know is quite important for you because of both how important Mars is and what we know about Chiron. Okay, that's really all I have to say. You have any questions, or does anybody have any questions for you before we move on?
That's fine for me.
Okay, I don't see any questions from anybody else. So, okay, are you
Thank
ready?
you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very
Excellent,
welcome.
excellent
Thank you.
presentation. Are you ready, Vera?
Yes. Yeah, so looking at my chart as a sort of first glance, I see a stronger northern, which is bottom half of the horoscope, that indicates introverted tendencies, and I have to agree with that. I need long periods of solitude, and I like spending time in nature. And that's on my own. That's where I can recharge. There are more planets in the Western Hemisphere, and that tells the tendency for group-initiated activities and affiliations. That was very true about my working life. I prefer to work within a system, a large organization such as government department, and I am more interested to find out how the systems work than sort of waved my own flag. Actually observing and learning how people behave in group situations is fascinating to me. That's why I studied sociology. There is a strong second quadrant, which is 4th and 5th house. And so the issues associated with those two houses are very important in this lifetime for me. And coming ascendant is in Cancer, and that position also creates the stellium, the groupings of planets in that 4th and 5th house. So that's, yeah, important for me to look at that. The elements, how they are represented in my chart. There are 2 earth signs, and yeah, I am practical, but not at the expense of my principles, and it takes me actually a long time to implement my plans, whatever it is. I'm a great procrastinator. I have predominantly water signs in my chart, 5 water signs, and all three major ones, which is the sun sign, moon, and ascendant, are water signs. That indicates emotional nature, yeah, sensitivity. I am sensitive. I can pick up vibes and sort of perceive those underlying currents. I have 6 fire signs. That makes a person animated, enthusiastic. Yeah, or sometimes can be enthusiastic about things. And when I do something, I do it with passion, with sort of, I call it oomph. I have 5 air signs, which actually quite sort of surprised me. That indicates intellectual good communication. Well, if I can put my mind to it, I can communicate well, but I am not in everyday situations. I hold back in terms of communication. Only when I see there is a purpose, then I go for it. And I'm not good at in maintaining relationships. I can see what is in relationship, but I don't put myself energy into it, in working it. Now coming to ascendant. Well, I don't know the exact time of my birth, and so it was a process of finding what it might be, and 2 very good astrologers had a go at this, and I provided information, and they came up with 2 signs. And after really long deliberation and struggles with Cancer, looking at my life events and what was really important, I chose the Cancer as ascendant. Cancer transmits ray 3 and ray 7. And that Cancer ascendant creates this stellium in Scorpio and in the 4th and 5th houses. Scorpio is my sun sign. So those issues, which is with the 4th house, the issues of home, one's roots, traditions, culture, that I went through that because I was born in the Central Europe, Czech Republic. It's a place where the history was making, and it's the upheavals, political, economic, and rich. It's a very rich history, the Central Europe, and I appreciate it. And I had to re-examine my affiliations. And the 5th house. 5th house is which indicates creativity, children, and that is again something close to me. I have handicapped child. I have 2 children, younger one is severely handicapped. So it wasn't easy for me and for the whole family. It put a lot of limitations into our lives, and it created and still creates intense learning environment for everybody. So that these were my guiding events in my life, and with the 5th house, when in relation with the children and the family, so the dramas with that, at the deepest point in my life, I realized that I have to take the charge of the situation into my own hand, that if I leave it to circumstances or somebody else, then nothing will change. It will be on just downhill slope. So that was really quite a dramatic breakthrough. And since then, I was gradually being in the driving seat of my life, and that will element that's what I am learning, because it is directing my life. It's not. I was very good in observing around the situations. People, it was very interesting and deep, but I wasn't directing my own life. So that was the great lesson of the 5th house, 4th and 5th house. The exoteric keynote of Cancer is let isolation be the rule, and yet the crowd exists. Isolation is a quite feature in my life, voluntary and also by emigrating from on the other side of the globe. Yes, there were periods of isolation, and occasionally still is. The negative signs of Cancer are moodiness, being too clingy, over-emotionalism, suspicion, tendency to nag, yes, and I used to display most of them, and I'm trying to work on it. Cancer's positive traits to cultivate is imagination, intuition, loving compassion, protectiveness, and I believe that the parenthood gave me plenty of time and opportunities to cultivate them. And I was very protective of my children. And one quality which I found is helpful and to cultivate is imagination. I used to underestimate the imagination because I had a sense that it's for like sissies, but and sort of like more this mass fighting through the life was my way. But imagination is certainly quality which I am now appreciating. Esoteric keynote of Cancer is I built a lighted house and therein dwell. So that my understanding of that is that, yeah, the form, personality has to be purified and transformed to be a vehicle for the soul. Soul expression of Cancer includes cultivating the virtues of race 3. So virtues of race 3 are the wide views on abstract questions, sincerity of purpose, intellect, capacity to concentrate on studies, patience, caution, and absence of tendency to worry oneself. I enjoy discussions and thinking on a variety of topics, any topics, social issues, politics, religion, art, and I don't hesitate to express my opinions and views. But I consider myself to be sincere in my efforts and relationships. Sometimes I can be quite harsh, not too diplomatic. At my early 40s, I went to university, so I proved that, yeah, I can concentrate on mental work. I achieved my degrees, and I can be patient. But in small matters, I can be compulsive. I don't think I worry over trifles, but when I do worry, I can't let go of it. It's until I find some steps towards resolving that situation. Vices of race 3, intellectual pride, coldness, isolation, inaccuracy in detail, criticisms, yes. I used to be very critical of others because my mind immediately can see or registers the differences, and so I can see where it doesn't work and it doesn't gel. But now I'm consciously taking great care, so I'm not judgmental. Sometimes not with success. It's work in progress. With those wide views, cultivating the virtues of race 3 is wide views on topics. I was thinking about it, and I think I can relate it also to relationships. Acceptance of variety of people in my circle, and I realize I am not good at that at all. I can discuss variety of topics, but in terms of accepting people into my little friendship circle, that's a different story, and I think that I need to really work on that. Race 7, virtues of race 7, strength, perseverance, courage, courtesy, yes, yeah, I am in my life, I think gave me opportunities to practice those. And the vices, formalism, narrowness, self-opinion, yes, I can be self-opinionated, yeah. Cancer rulers are Moon and Neptune. Exoteric Moon and Neptune is the esoteric ruler. Exoteric ruler moon is in Pisces, in the 9th house. And esoteric ruler Neptune is in Libra in the 4th house. I will talk later about the moon, but moon and Neptune both transmit energies of psychic nature and form the water element. Neptune represents aspiration and development of sensitivity towards the soul energy. Yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that. So I am now looking at the sun. Sun sign is in Scorpio, and that is in the 4th and 5th house. Transmits of ray 4 energy. Scorpio energy is intense and compulsive, and it is learning to identify my weaknesses and purifying my personality. That's, yeah, and it's a like, since I'm in constant battle. Home, family relationships, children are the issues to deal with, according to this, that it falls into those, that 4th and 5th house. So when we emigrated to New Zealand, my whole environment has changed. There was language, history, culture, family left behind. So it was learning to blend. Rather than see the differences and being torn between the two worlds, it was like blending them together. The key phrase for the Scorpio is "Let Maya flourish and let deception rule." Negative traits are jealousy, secretiveness, resentfulness, controlling, manipulating, moodiness. Yes, especially at my young age, I was plagued with the moodiness and jealousy and emotional insecurity. Higher key phrase for Scorpio is "Warrior I am, and from the battle I emerge triumphant." Determination, fearlessness, loyalty, ambition, and intuition. Yes, I do identify with these. I have determination in me. Fearlessness, I hope so. I value very much loyalty. And what I found about this, the passions of my Scorpio, that and the vices, the weaknesses, when I looked at it closely, it actually was out of insecurity, out of not really knowing and having sense of me, who I am. Indication of that is the Saturn and in the 1st house. That's the house where how we project ourselves into the world. And that was a very long journey for me, and I think I am in the good spot now. But I had to learn the hard way to appreciate the life and the sense of it's that center. Identity is not with, for me, it's not tied up with my roles, mother or working person or being a Czech or New Zealander, never, or being affiliated with some movement. but it is really my identity is now, it goes deeper into the soul and more. It's that very essence of life, what life is. We have exoteric ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, and that digs deep below the surface and destroys those patterns which holds us back. And my Pluto is in the first house. That's again that identity. It brings to the surface through the quite sometimes dramatic events. It brings to the surface what is really what one needs to look at. It's a good cleaning on psychological level and physical as well, because I have the tendency, I have to laugh, that when I am cleaning I always go for the most dirty spot. And yeah, exoteric ruler is Mars and Pluto are the exoteric rulers of Scorpio. So that's this feistiness is really quite sort of strong there. It gives me the quality I can display devotion and capacity to fight. Yeah, Mars is strong in my chart. It is in its own sign, which is the Scorpio, and again is in that 5th house. Yeah, I can now maybe go now to the moon. Moon is in Pisces in the 9th house, and moon moon features very strongly in my chart because it is the exoteric ruler of my ascendant. It's the Cancer, and therefore, as the theory goes, exoteric ruler of my chart as a whole. But if it is the moon in Scorpio always falls, so I have this dilemma how to interpret that. That moon in Pisces indicates that I display its a sensitivity, or not being more like, and not, I don't like the word victim, but being really torn in that sea of life into different directions, responding, reacting to what is around. And that I did found that this is my experience, and as I mentioned before, I was not directing in my life. I was a little rebellious in my teenage years, didn't want to conform to the usual ways of progressing in life, but I didn't had clear idea which way to go and what I really wanted. So that again goes back to that first house, who I was, and the sense of I am my will, and that actually ties, that issue was very strong in my childhood. That was quite a determinant of my whole sort of personality. That's 4th house again. As a little child, I wasn't encouraged to find my own personality. I had little response emotional from my parents. They were too preoccupied with themselves. And so I sort of had a sense that I was like invisible. So that sense of the struggle to find my real core is the journey of my life. Then about the moon, traits again to cultivate are imagination, kindness, compassion. Yes, I am aiming consciously to cultivate them. An esoteric keynote of Pisces is I leave my father's home and turning back I save. Well, the esoteric ruler of Pisces is, whoa, Pluto? Yeah, Pluto. That is the first ray. So in order, my interpretation of the Pisces is of that I leave my father's house and turning back I save. It's like a savior, but before we can save somebody, we have to be strong in ourselves. We have to know what we can do, who we are. Yeah, I think that the only thing what I would like to add is that first house, Saturn is squaring Sun, and Pluto also squaring Sun, which that's like I could never sort of fully like shine in my life. There is always some difficulty in front, some sort of like a lid put on me, sort of as a personality. Yeah, that's briefly all.
Well, thank you very much, Vera. You covered some very important themes in your chart, which if I can touch on them, it might help you understand some of the struggles in your life. You spoke to being invisible at home. Well, Pisces, Moon in Pisces can result in that, you know. Pisces is a very, you know, sometimes it's hard to be a Pisces. They say, I die daily is a very good expression for Pisces because it's like drowning in water and there's no boundaries there. And so sometimes for Pisces people, especially as a child, because Moon can represent our childhood, it's very difficult. There isn't, as I said, boundaries. There isn't that concreteness. There isn't that standing out in Pisces. And there's that emotional sensitivity where you would pick up other people's feelings, your own feelings, and you can't make heads or tails of is it mine, is it theirs, and there really isn't that map that you need to help you move through life. So that's one thing I would say about what you talked about. And it is, as you mentioned, the ruler of your ascendant. It is the ruling sign. So it plays an important role here for you, that Moon in Pisces. And I know we're not doing decanates, we're not doing any of that stuff, but Pisces comes up again and again in your chart. So Pisces energy is so strong within you and for you that I'm not at all surprised as you talk about some of the struggles that you've lived through. And the need for isolation and to recover, to retreat is another important theme for Pisces. The normal house for Pisces is the 12th house. And that house, we always say, is the house of needing to retreat, needing time alone, needing to recoup, and to be with yourself. So allow yourself to endure that and to move into that space, because you need that. You need that for your sustenance, and you need that for your sense of self. Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to point out. Now the other ruler of Pisces is also Neptune. And we are told by the Tibetan that it's also Jupiter. So we've got Jupiter and we've got Pisces, both, Neptune, both as Piscean exoteric rulers. And we'll add, before I talk about that, that Neptune is also the esoteric ruler of your Cancer ascendant. So there's this overlapping here continually of this energy of Neptunian energy, which is very Piscean, the moon energy, and on top of that you also have the Jupiter energy, which amplifies that even more, makes it more of that. Now, as in Louise's situation, she had Chiron in the middle between two planets. You do too. You see, you have Chiron, as was nicely pointed out by BL, at 29 degrees of an air sign, moving, maybe finishing with that and moving into the water sign, but it is sitting right there between the two ruling planets of your moon and one of them at least of your ascendant. And there's some kind of an adjustment that needs to be made within the home environment, and this you already spoke to. You know that. There's nothing new about that. But adjustments, corrections, because that's where the pain is. That's where you've been wounded before. And once you can learn how to overcome those pains every time they come up, you can become a healer, because that's what Chiron is all about. He can become the healer once he's gone through the pain, because he can then relate that with what others are going through. To add to all of that, you have your sun there as well. Now, again, depending on the house system, your sun can be in the 4th house or can be in the 5th house. It doesn't matter. It's very, very close to the cusp of that house. So you have all that energy working together with your sun sign. And of course, as you said, Scorpio is a warrior. Scorpio is the one that has to overcome through trial and tests a lot of things. You've got a very good thing going for you because its ruling planet, Mars, is in its own sign. It's in the sign of Scorpio. So it's there to help you overcome some of those battles, some of those tests that you as an individual have chosen in this lifetime to go through. And it finds itself in the 5th house, the house of children, the house of being creative. And maybe that's what you need to do with the struggles that you find yourself in, is to always come up with a creative way in which to handle it. So we notice, if we look at these 3 planets that are there, which can represent our vehicles, our lower vehicles, that the Mars, which is the body, the physical body, is not exactly in the same sign as the other 2. So the Mars, as we said, it's in its own sign. You've got pretty good control and pretty good integration of your physical form and your brain. The other 2 are together in a different sign. That is Venus, which can represent the emotions, and Mercury, which can represent the mind. They're close together, so they can speak to 2 things. One, it could be a kama monastic mind. Thoughts bring on feelings, feelings bring on thoughts, and eventually we have to learn to separate the 2. Or we can also think of it as greater synthesis within the mind. Venus Mercury brings synthesis to the mind, where you have a quick mind, a mind that can bring it together, can see it all very, very clearly. So that's one good thing that you have going there. I was going to ask you how you would integrate, or how you have lived with Saturn in the 1st house, but you did speak to that. You spoke to that very well, actually. There's a couple of things here worth noting. That Saturn, as you see here, is conjunct Pluto in that 1st house. Pluto, as you have said, is also the ruler of your sun sign. So again, it is a very important planet for you. It rules Scorpio. Now, We know that Pluto deals with destruction. It can deal with debt. And Saturn can deal with authority, with governance, with rules, with laws. And if the two are together, it can mean that one could have clashes with authority, or with wealth, or with power. It could also represent, these are all coulds, it doesn't mean that it is, you'd have to answer yes or no or maybe, that it could mean a painful childhood with emotional scars that later on can lead to difficulty in adulthood. It could lead to grief. It could lead to resentments, which I think did you not speak to, did you mention resentment, or am I mixing it up with what Louise said? Maybe I'm mixing it up.
No, I didn't mention resentment, but that combination Saturn-Pluto, I am interested to how the system and groups work, and I am not associated, I'm strongly leftist, sort of on green side, and I don't buy into political systems, standings or authority, or yeah.
Right. You see, that would make you not complying with authority. That would make you resisting authority. Where that you would clash with authority. Saturn can lead to fear or depression. Fear can come also from your Pisces, your strong Pisces in your chart. So the two together, if they get a chance to work, we say that people that have this combination can be very courageous, very determined. They are the ones that are the survivors, because this is a tough combination, Pluto, Saturn, and it's part of your identity. It's part of who you are, because it's in your first house. So it's a tough combination, you see. Okay. But it leads to courage. It leads to being very determined. It leads to that survivor, to, in spite of all the difficulties, to be the warrior, where your Mars helps you, where your Pluto can help you, you know. So I see that as, you know, that you've allowed yourself to work through that and to come through the other side, which is very positive.
I would like to add to this one that my first tendency was to be too much like on the warring side. But now, as I'm gaining confidence as a person, I am now seeing that the strength doesn't need to be obvious and physical and aggressive, but the quiet strength which comes from within, which is the Pisces, that sensitivity, that real sense of who we are is the, yeah, so.
Yes, absolutely, I agree, 100%. The more soul connection that you have, the stronger, the more courageous you will be. You see, as long as it's personality that is ruling, then yeah, warriorship and conflict and fighting is that aggression that we see in Mars. But if you think of Mars as the esoteric ruler, and even Pluto as the esoteric ruler of Pisces, that can give you tremendous amount of strength, inner strength, that comes with being able to be in your own sense of who you are, you know, your own, to be who you are, you see, and you are the soul. And you've chosen a life that you have had to overcome tremendous hardship and continually do that, but that strength is not it's not meant to fight with people around you. It's meant to be inner strength, reliance, you know, determination, that kind of thing. Yeah. And one thing you mentioned earlier is that you're judgmental and critical, this kind of thing. I would, and I know you sent us your rays, and you thought that maybe first ray was on the mind. From all my observation, first ray on the mind is not really critical or judgmental. That's more a fifth ray, even, well, third ray. It's not really first ray. First ray doesn't spend time looking at those things, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
So first ray might be elsewhere, or it might be coming from the strength that is coming through your chart. You know?
I am not sure about my mental ray. I was thinking maybe, what if it could be fifth ray?
Well, I think it could be, from everything I've seen you write and the way you ask questions. It could easily be a fifth ray. Fifth ray can be very critical, you see.
Oh.
First ray tends not to be. That first ray, even though Scorpio we only know of as fourth ray, but there's something about being the warrior in Scorpio, you know, and it can often mask itself as that first ray energy as well. Now, maybe it does have first ray on another level that the Tibetan hasn't given us, but we can definitely see some of that strength in Scorpio, and even with that Saturn-Pluto combination in Leo in the first house, you know, that could give a very easily a first-rate feeling to you too.
Yeah.
Now you come across more as a 2-4-6 in your chart, not a 1-3-5-7.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, you know, I don't know you well enough to know that. You have to answer that.
No, I would say I am more on second, fourth, sixth. Yeah.
Yeah, because of all the Piscean energy and the moon, the Pisces, the Neptune, there's so much of that in the chart. There's all this water. It's very 2-4-6 as far as I can see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So really, that's all I have to say. I wonder if there's other things that BL would like to add.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. When you were talking about the Saturn-Pluto combo there in the first house in Leo, that really reminded me of what she was talking about when they emigrated to New Zealand. The dictatorship and needing to get away from it. Those are very difficult aspects, you know, as a conjunction. Those are the two hardest planets in the chart in her first house, and that's going to frame her identity. And Leo, of course, is the identity, and needing to be true to that identity. And so the family as a whole moved to New Zealand to become individualized in their own way. So that was one thing. The other thing is, you know, I want to look at the nodes, since we did introduce them, and her nodes are in Sagittarius and Gemini, and they directly square her moon, you know, forming that little T-square there, which of course is challenging aspects. It's hard. That's not easy. But it brings in her stellium down here in the fifth house, and this is where the south node is. She needs to use that fiery aspiration in creative outlets for her goal, her karmic goals of this lifetime, in the 11th house, in the house of service. And you know, that's all tied very intimately with her emotions in this Pisces that she's got here. This is the mutable, changeable. It's the strong 2 and 6 ray line. And you know, that's a big strong part of her makeup. But it's also the compassion that she does in her work. You know, a social worker. That's what she's doing. She's taking the creative home, family type environment where her stelliums are, and she's using it in her service-oriented work to help people, which is part of the saving work of Pisces. So,
and to just back up what you just said, having all that Scorpio gives her a real in to human nature and to understanding humanity, and to take that, as you say, into her social work and into the work environment.
right.
That's a gift. Not everybody has that ability.
Oh no, that's you know, that Mars in Scorpio can see right through people. Can see to the heart of the matter, and then I would say knows how to deal with it. You know, that's one of her gifts. And it's a hard gift. Compassion is never easy because we feel so strongly towards it that it breaks our heart every time. But that's what makes us good at it. So I see that within all of the water that she's got going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good, good.
Thank you.
All good. Well, I hope this has
Thank
been.
you.
I hope this has been good for both of you, Louise and Vera. You both have a lot of overlapping energies here in your charts. Both of you have strong Scorpio. You have Saturn in the first house. So that's just something that you both chose to give your ray charts delineation today. So the theme has been kind of being repeated. But of course, everyone's life is different. Everybody's an individual, and that comes through again and again.
I just would like to add that it was a really good exercise, making me to look at the chart and think about it and deeply. And I came to some new insights, realizations. Very good exercise, very useful. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad for that feedback. Thank you.
And I just want to tell everybody that's listening, you mentioned that you had two excellent astrologers do your, what the heck's it called, where they determined what your ascendant was. Those were not Eva and I. That's not one of our skills. It was Michael and Lawson. Who did that for her, and they've been doing it for years and years, and they're both excellent at it. So she was given the opportunity to look at the Taurus ascendant that Michael had said when he rectified her chart, and the Cancer ascendant that Lawson had done when he rectified her chart. And like she said, she poured over it for, close to 2 months, didn't she?
Longer, because I know about this. This is my struggle. I would like to be Taurus, but then when I look at my life, no, it's Cancer.
So do you think that the placements of these, where everything is sitting, in the houses that it's sitting, is what applies to you? Because having Cancer as the rising sign determines the placement in the chart of where things are sitting in which houses, you know?
Yeah.
Move things around for you.
Yeah, and that fits really.
Because if you had Taurus rising, you know, you wouldn't have a 4th and 5th house emphasis. You might have it somewhere else.
Mm.
Yeah, she has the chart, so she had an opportunity to look at that, and she described perfectly, I think, both the 4th and 5th house stellium. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for a well done job, both of you ladies.
Well, thank you for your comments. Very helpful.
Yeah.
It's our joy. You know, we really enjoy this, and so we love the work that you're doing and that it's helping, and we'll continue doing it, as we said, as long as there's people sufficiently interested. And right now we have quite a few. So.
Yes, we do, and thank you for a couple of you who put the good word in and got us some more people interested. We do have a couple of things going. Our next webinar is going to be the 1st of November, and we've got the 3 presenters for that. 30 November, we have 2 presenters. We have an opening for 1. 3 January, we're going to add some more material, so we'll only have 2 presenters. And we have 1 already, so we have an opening there. Then several of you have mentioned that you would be willing to do a second one. So if anybody would like to do a second presentation, please let us know. It can be a significant other. It can be a child. So in other words, someone that you know well and have observed their behaviors and think that you could come up with, the way that they're working out their big 3 and their rays. It can be someone that you've done a profile on. I know people in Great Quest both years have to do a astrological and or rheological profile on people. So if you've done or are doing right now for this year for your DHY paper a profile on a famous person and you would like to present that in the context of what we're doing here with the sun, ascendant, and moon, we'd like you to have an opportunity to do a second one. As Eva said, we'd like to continue as long as possible, and if we still have the interest, we could maybe continue this through June or July of next year.
The only thing I want to mention with whoever you choose to do the chart on, hopefully it's someone that's awakened, someone that's on the path, since we are dealing with ascendants. Okay? Unawakened humanity, their ascendants are not that strong within their life. So since this is an esoteric approach, hopefully it's someone that you feel is, it's got some soul influence.
And I would like to say that they don't necessarily have to be, involved in study and everything, so much as having the right attitude, the right approach to the world. Some of the esoteric keywords that we know of, right speech, right action, right thoughts. They're making an impact in their own field in a good way, as opposed to just strictly being selfish. So, okay, I apologize for not being able to get that little whatchamapuppy off my who's-its there. I am going to leave the webinar running when we stop it so I can get my technical expert, my husband, in here to try and help me get rid of it. So unless we have any questions or comments, there goes Elvis. Oh, wait a minute. Think of the way that he impacted the world. Don't you think that that was a higher calling?
Absolutely. I mean, sure, there was personality that came through, but he had a mission.
And that's what's fun. It's fun to show both. These are the personality quirks, and we all have them. And these are the esoteric aspects that we're dealing with. Okay, so I'm going to say we're finished with the webinar, and thank you very much for the work that both Vera and Louise put in. You guys did excellent jobs of going through your chart and giving us great examples.